Lanterns is here for yet another episode. Lanterns episode 2 just dropped, and we're here to talk all about it because we just watched it. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right, welcome to the Dingus Den, everybody. If you like what you see here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as we are officially on the Lanterns journey to review and talk about what we thought about each episode of Lanterns as it comes out as part of like all the big DCU reviews that we've been doing with everything. So make sure you check out all our previous discussions over all the other DCU projects as well. But Lantern season is here. We talked about the first episode where I couldn't shut up about how much I just really enjoyed that first episode. And then now we have the second episode, which I definitely think things have taken a little bit of a turn of being like, there's a couple things that happened that like kind of like threw me off a little bit of being like, I'm not so sure about a couple aspects here or there, like I was talking about like maybe one villain's going to be involved, and now I'm like, I'm not so sure. I'd still love to see him, but I'm like, I'm not sure if that's quite what the show's kind of leaning towards it all now, as we now have a better idea with where things are going, but we'll see, right? But overall, what did you think of this new episode?
I liked it quite a bit. I liked how much they are kind of moving the story forward because the episodes are just under an hour, so they really built the foundation of everything in episode 1, and so they are starting to tease and reveal a lot of story beats throughout this episode that I thought was cool. Some of the stuff I'm definitely gonna have to ask you throughout the review about, because there are certain things that I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Sure.
But it'll be cool to discover that with the characters. And once again, the banter was great in this episode. It was a highlight, I think. And yeah, I mean, I guess without going into spoilers, just for me, another really good episode.
Yeah, for me, this was like an episode that I definitely enjoyed overall. Starting to get back and kind of into like the sort of more sort of, what do you want to say, like season build up, right? Of we're now starting to uncover these layers of stuff that's going on, and like I said, it kind of like I'm kind of not so sure on a couple things. I'm still processing it because now we're recording this like right after, so like I'm sure there's going to be certain thoughts and things, and things I just haven't come to yet. And anything that changes, I'll always try to update in the next episode and stuff. But like, point is like our thoughts here are like it's fresh. We just got off of watching the episode like 15 minutes ago, and so and still trying to digest how I kind of thinking about some of these things and whatnot. I would say overall as an episode, like it didn't grab me as much as the first episode, but like I still like thought it was a good episode. And I'll leave it there as far as like the spoiler-free review, because I don't think there's as much else to say about it without talking to specifics of it. So anybody who hasn't watched the episode, turn away now. And before we actually do get into episode specifics, there is one kind of spoiler point about the episode, or lack thereof in the episode. I want to ask you about, which is, well, obviously the end of the last episode ended with the giant reveal. Hal Jordan, or what could be Hal Jordan, we don't know, is dead. And the previous episode did a really good job of jumping between all these different time periods. But this episode only showed us 2016. And I was kind of expecting in some way, kind of like, I guess more of like kind of like what Book of Boba Fett did, where it was like, I'm not expecting the 2026 thing to maybe be the main point until like, say, the last 2-3 episodes. But like, I was still expecting like one scene maybe from 2026, what was your thoughts of just, I guess, only having it set in 2016 and not having any 2026
Yeah. Well,
aspects of it.
it's funny because watching the episode, I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that you bring it up, that's a good point. I mean, it worked for me, I would say, just I guess because it didn't occur to me. But I think it's possible that they're gonna spend the next, because what, it's 8 episodes, so maybe
Yeah.
episodes for sure 3 and maybe 4, they'll continue building up this
Mhm.
story. Maybe they'll start doing like back and forth where like there's a scene in 2016 that then explains a
Mhm.
scene in
Sure.
2026 and then um get to that point potentially.
Yeah.
Um but it is interesting to tease the first episode, the end of the first episode
Yeah.
like that and not then reference that at all here.
Yeah.
But it could be something, yeah, where at the end of the season we're like, "Oh, that made sense." But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just something interesting because it's like that was a big thing that stood out to me in the first episode that we talked about. Was it did a great job of balancing the timelines in ways that, or the time eras, I should say, that like most I feel like projects that do that don't do, right? Because it's hard to balance between all those things. I had a natural progression.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting, like I said, something with 2026 in
Mhm.
this. And so I guess that kind of just brings in like an overall wish, I guess, for me of a show from the show is like I don't want them to kind of just have that big reveal at the end of the first episode and kind of like not touch on it at all
Yeah.
until like say episode 6 or something. It's like I'm
Mhm.
hoping like a wish I would say for next episode is like I want something to kind of touch on it, or else I would feel like that maybe they kind of pulled that big end reveal a little bit too early or something. You know what I mean? Of like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel it's like it dropped a bombshell, but maybe it would have been better if it mid-season if they're not going to touch on it. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's interesting because it's like they set up all these time eras, and now it's just like now they're just doing one, and it's just like I feel like you should still gotten a little bit of the other.
It's
So
like
we'll see.
the fear is that just being like for surprise and like a hook to get you to watch this episode, and then it's like, "Okay, where's the rest of that?" You know?
Yeah, yeah. So that's just like one thing that I thought of. But we'll go with where this episode ends, which I was not expecting it to go there. But we got stuff to talk about before then. Where it begins with we could see Hal and John banter at the beginning. Could see Hal starting to try to train John to use the ring, and we see that he can't really use it. Because obviously the last episode we got to see him actually use the ring for the first time where we found out he used bubble wrap, so that was interesting. Saying that like
Yeah.
he couldn't really use it to fly as he was being taught. But then there's this aspect of like he was able to make a bird, and it didn't necessarily come from the ring, but from like himself.
Mhm.
Which that's I don't know. That kind of gets into like kind of the territory of where I'm getting a little like one of the ideas I'm iffy about of like yes, the comics have set up, I'll say much later on in the history of like that there's something that happened with John where he doesn't need a ring to construct stuff.
Oh, wow.
Um, but like I said, this is like a thing much later on. I think it's more of a recent-ish development. Like maybe more within the last 5-10 years, if I remember right. But um, point is, I was like the idea of like somebody being able to do that isn't not a thing.
Mhm.
But then it's like for somebody to actually do that, I'm like, wait, what? It's like
Yeah.
it's interesting, and that kind of goes into I wasn't able to like necessarily talk about because I wasn't able to word it quite right. Of like at the
Mhm.
beginning of the last episode, we see the beginning with John Stewart and his father, who is this kind of like weird sort of thing of like he knows what a Green Lantern is, and so he's kind of teaching John Stewart, like his father, is seemingly preparing him to become a Green Lantern to be that prime candidate, which is just kind of like a weird thing because it's like one doesn't just know about the Green Lanterns to kind of do that, and so like I guess the idea of what the show might be going towards is that his father prepared him to just be able to do Green Lantern stuff without having the Green Lantern connection or something. Because I don't know, it's
Mhm.
just an idea that like it seems like they might be building towards that. I'm not. It's like kind of the one big thing that I'm kind of iffy with so far, and we'll see how that plays out as it goes. But we'll see. Um, Uh, but like the whole like I don't know, it was interesting is just having the bird there throughout the entire episode. What did you think about the bird?
Yeah, well, so, like, I'm sure most people, all the lore and everything is all new to me, so when he first created the bird, I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
But then when he didn't have the ring anymore, because I at least know that, right? That you
Right.
conjure something with the ring. I was like, "That's interesting." I was like,
Mhm.
he either is, like, just real like, because I was like, he's been training for what, like, 3 months, and the training has mainly been observing. Maybe
Right.
it's been longer than that, because even, like, with the flying, I loved how Hal was like, "You just fly, you just
Yeah.
do it.
You just
Just
know
do
it.
it." Yeah, it's like breathing, you just
Yeah.
fly. Um,
I love that
but
little line.
yeah,
But yeah.
but I think it's an interesting idea to toy around with because you bring up a good point with him in his early years with his father, like, if he just kinda has always known how to do it, now he has the ability to do it, but it's because it's throughout the whole episode too, 'cause Hal
Mhm.
says you that it dies, you fail, and he never loses concentration
Yeah.
until and he really never does, at the end, he kinda just
Lets it go.
lets it
Yeah.
go, um, and I'm sure that's going to be some kinda impact later in the show because if it's his subconscious creating it, there's something there, and he kinda played it off as, like, it's not a big deal, but it's like, why would they have it for the whole episode and it just not go anywhere, be anything? And maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but I thought it was just neat that he seems to be pretty advanced in his knowledge of training, and maybe that's why he gets annoyed with Hal and his teachings.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who
we'll
knows?
see. You know,
Yeah.
so the big thing I've been saying about the show, and it's kind of aged bad with a recent comment that Damon Lindelof came out and said, which I don't know if you would have seen,
Mhm.
is like that I was like, you know, a lot of the concepts that was introduced in the first episode, I was like, I feel like there's some ways you could justify that with prior comment, like
Mm.
different angles, right? Like the idea
Mhm.
that there's only meant to be one ring per sector, so that's why they're having to essentially share a ring than them both having a ring like you see in the comics, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like, maybe they're just looking at things in different ways, and then that come on, like, you know, from a different angle that could still stay true in some regard. And then I saw there's maybe it was a Hollywood Reporter that said something said I think it was them. I could be wrong, but one of the big Hollywood places um, that was saying stuff about where Damon Lindelof was like, "Yeah, it's boring to stay 100% true to canon, you know," and it's like, "Oh God."
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay. And I'm kind of worried that the whole sort of John Stewart thing is a thing, like where it's like maybe twisting something too much. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which I hope isn't the case. And you know, I'm gonna remain optimistic until we reach the end of the show. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, right? Is like
Mhm.
the show sets up a lot, but then it's also like I want it to be faithful by the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't mind them twisting some things to work, you know, and obviously Superman I think twisted a couple things in its
yeah,
own way, you know, and it made it work. So I'm kind of like trying to be hopeful that like by the end of the day it truly does work overall, but we'll see, right?
yeah.
Um,
You
but
just don't want 'em to diverge too much from the core of the
yeah,
character, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you said with Superman, yeah, they tweaked some things
yeah,
and made it work, but it wasn't like you watch that and you go, "That's not Superman."
yeah,
And so well,
yeah.
okay, some people did, but, like, for the most
Sure,
people, you can
yeah,
watch that and go, "That's Superman at its
yeah,
core."
yeah.
And
I still think the
so,
characters
yeah,
are at the core. It's just more of like
yeah,
different certain lore changes, and it's like if more people are getting interested in this version of the lane, like don't get me wrong, I'm
mhm,
happy that at the end of the day, I hope this creates more Green Lantern fans, right? Like somebody
yeah,
like you who doesn't really know them, and
mhm,
you know would give you reason to be like, hey, let's go read some of the comics, right? And that's the
exactly.
biggest thing that I'm at the very least glad that the show's going to do, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I just hope it
Well, you
doesn't
bring that
diverge too much, right? Like if there's
yeah.
this big idea the show really goes into, and then you go read the comics and it's like that's not at all, it's gonna be like, well,
Yeah, you'd be like, "What the heck?" But
yeah,
you mentioned, like, fans and stuff. I hope the numbers stay like this, but, I mean, the first episode got, like, 9.3 million viewers in the
yeah,
first 3 days, which was not only the biggest DC show ever, debut for HBO, but it was the 5th biggest HBO
One of the
premiere
biggest, yeah. It's
ever,
really
which
good.
I was thinking about that for an IP of Lanterns, which I feel like is not I don't wanna say not as popular, but I feel like in the general audience, most people don't think of Lanterns
Yeah, yeah,
potentially as like DC as the big 3. I don't know, I don't wanna speak too much on where Lanterns
sure,
ranks on that because I don't really know,
sure.
but either way, just in general, for a DC show, a comic book show, to have that big of a debut, I hope.
It's surprising, and I'm
Yeah,
glad for him too, and I hope it works out, in the way
yeah.
that I think as long as the viewership stays consistent, I think it's safe to say that we're gonna get a season 2.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see, and so it's good stuff. Like, it even had a higher 3-day count than, like, The Penguin, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy to me.
And, like, I remember that show being big, and that number even got or that show got the numbers to warrant a season 2, but they just couldn't find the right story since it was made to be an 8-episode show.
Exactly.
So it's like, if this show's doing it, it's like, I feel like it's guaranteed unless it just
Yeah,
falls flat, you
especially
know?
knowing that, Jon Stewart's gonna be a Man of Tomorrow, like, there's
Yeah,
gonna be room to
yeah.
continue the story. So,
In
yeah.
some shape or form, we'll see what happens. So, yeah,
Mhm.
it's exciting stuff. So, but yeah, this episode then kind of like diverges into two different plot lines.
Mhm.
We get to see. I like the moment where we got to see Hal go out and like fly, and then he started his own
Yeah,
investigation.
the town's like a ghost town,
Yeah, that's
we're like, "What's
crazy,
going
right?
on here?"
Like, what's going on, and then finding. I think I'm just gonna like kind of like lump some plot points together as we
Sure.
kind of get to them. Because we see him like investigate. He goes through this. He finds a metal detector doesn't work, and so he's probably thinking, well, no wonder there's an incident there, right?
Mhm.
And then we later find out that it's an alien detector, which that's
Which
interesting.
so cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what? And they have like these technology, like they're setting up that there's like this technology that has like I don't even see technology out this like that in outer space that much, which is interesting because it's like I feel like we would with what we've seen in Supergirl, but who knows, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, like that was interesting. We got the big town hall scene that we knew was coming because we
Mhm.
saw that in one of the trailers. Um, and essentially Hal getting kicked out because they were like, "Shut up," because
Yeah.
he's talking with the lawyer that let him go, and there's this whole aspect of like there's this vibe that people just want him to leave, but he's like, "Well, no, there's something still going on here,"
Yeah.
uh, and delving into that with the whole what's his name, William Macon storyline.
Mhm. I
Uh,
have some thoughts on that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's that?
Well, it kinda teases stuff that was revealed kind of with John in the middle of the episode. There's
Yeah,
the Manhunter thing that's
yeah,
revealed,
yeah,
which I remember that was we brought that up at some point during one of the trailer
yeah,
reactions.
yeah. They dropped that.
Um, I feel like because the writing to me, in a general sense, has been really good. I like that we're figuring things out with Hal. It's not dumbed down and just told to us, like, the whole him finding going and taking the aliens and confirming that it's a thing. He easily could have just looked up and been like, "Yep, that's an alien detector," but we gotta see him figure it out.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
so anyway, with that, with the writing being that, like, heavy on storytelling and not dumbing things down, the initial thought for me, at least, is, like, who could the Manhunter be is the William guy, the head of the Mencken family. But I almost think that's the intent is to make you think that, and it's kinda obvious. It wouldn't surprise me if it's, like, his wife or, like, his son or something like that because they showed her again in this episode, and she
Mm,
revealed a lot about, like, why she is where she is and everything that just kinda seemed like, "Okay, what's the importance of her character overall in the story?" Like,
yeah.
we know why the sheriff's there. We know why her husband's there. We know right now, of course, with William, he has this whole beneficiary thing that he's not speaking on. So there's still that. But it's just, and I could be looking too much into that, but I just
Yeah.
think the way they introduced her character and the way that she was in this episode just is kind of like maybe there's something there. Um, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's an
interesting to play around with, and that's what I like about what they're doing with the writing is I think it could really could be anyone. There's not quite enough to pinpoint it fully on someone.
mhm.
That was just watching the episode. That was kind of my initial thought.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I have like no idea of like what they're trying to do with some of these plot points.
Yeah.
Like when Howell goes to that ranch and like asking those questions and pushing them, right?
Yeah, he
And
was
it's
really
like,
defensive.
yeah, and it's interesting too because it's like I wanna know more about these like the founders there, and all that. And
Yeah.
it's like,
And Hal knows the questions to ask to get the right, like, reaction of, like,
yeah,
to reveal. Like, he knows how to, even with the sheriff, like, he was able to kinda get certain react kind of, like, subtle reactions that, like, tells way more than, like, a yes or a no. Um, so
and
yeah.
had some really good stuff too between him and the sheriff too, of like where they really got to see, like they really opened up with each other, and finding out like, oh yeah, like the town knows about that there is aliens there, and
Mhm.
like they knew that, like it's like Hal was the last person in the town to seemingly find out about like, hey, there's an alien detector, right?
Right,
uh
exact I thought that was funny. She's like,
yeah.
"Yeah, we all know that." Like
Yeah, we were like, we really didn't need to, and like that new alien didn't set off, so that's why they didn't think. And yeah, it was interesting to be like, huh,
Mhm.
it really is.
And I just liked how many good character growth moments we had in this episode. Because outside of that one scene with John, him being kidnapped, there wasn't really action. Like, it was all just characters talking out things, and it was really good because the episode didn't drag for me at all, and,
Yeah.
so, um, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because my only thoughts was once it started getting close to the end, I was like, is it going to start ending here? Is it going to start ending there? And then once they got into where it's ending, I was like, fuck, this is where you're going to end off at?
I
God damn.
know, I know. By the way, the flying looks great so far
Mine was
in the
cool.
show.
I did
Like, it
like it.
looks really good, but I
So
know we'll get to that.
yeah, let's talk about Hal Jordan's mansion because I wasn't expecting him to have a mansion. See, like when I
Yeah,
usually
what the
think
heck?
of like I like that we finally got the reference of like, hey, you need to go back to Coast City, and we didn't get to really see
Mhm.
Coast City, but like I was expecting, because when I think of what Hal usually has is like that he usually just lives in an apartment. So I was like, oh, he's gonna go to his apartment. He has a secret
Interesting.
closet in there. Like I was expecting
Yeah.
that, um, and um, and it's quite the opposite. Like
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can have, and he's like, oh yeah, some rich dude feel guilty that I saved, and so he's like, you want to give me this stuff? I'm like, oh, so you just have a mansion? Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
Uh,
is in the DC world, in relation to, like, Metropolis and Gotham, where's, like, Coast City? Like,
I believe. See, I could. This could be
I
like.
know there's not, like, an official set in stone map for
See,
DC, I know it changes.
my picture of this, and I could be completely wrong, but this is just
Mhm.
what I think of it, is if like Metropolis is your New York, you
Yeah.
know. So let's say Metropolis is New York, Coast City is more of the like LA, is what I feel like.
Okay.
I don't know if that's
That
actually the case of where it all
yeah.
is, especially in the DCU, because I know one of the good things that James Gunn has
Mhm.
done is like they actually have a map built. Obviously, we
Yeah.
haven't seen this map, but they have set in stone. This is where that place is. This is where this
Mhm.
place is.
Yeah.
Um, so that's yeah.
I was just curious because
That's
I was
what.
like, I
That's how I've
mhm.
always thought of it. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's right. I could be completely wrong, but that's always kind of like in my mind. It's like I've always thought of it being a Californian city, but I could
Yeah.
be wrong on that aspect.
I mean, I kinda got that vibes from, like, some of the just the environment,
Sure.
um,
I
but
could see that.
well,
I mean,
and
especially
we
when it's like you just go to that, it's like you could very easily give this a vibe of a Hollywood mansion. It's
oh,
like
yeah, 100%.
so
That yeah.
so
Well, and
maybe.
we found out the sheriff lady's from Gotham, so
Yeah,
I'm sure
that was
that
a
was
reveal I
interesting.
was not expecting at all.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, that's also interesting too. And I'm curious too of like, I bet also like the bat like how they're setting up Batman from the little bit we know is like he's been
Mhm.
Batman for a little bit because they're trying to go right into the era of that there's a Bat family, which I love the idea of. I just hope we can see it sooner than later.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I love the idea that we also have this cop lady from there and like having her own experience from Gotham that like really I think deepens it
Mhm.
the sort of world as well, which
Yeah.
is cool. Um,
I
Because,
think
you know, Gotham
it
cops are
adds a
just
lot of
different.
like depth to her character when you think about
Mhm.
like her wanting to protect this town and her city. Like this
Yeah.
city would be way better to live in compared to Gotham.
As I
Like,
say, like,
you know,
Gotham's a very corrupt town, and now she's
yeah.
and we see it in one of those scenes too, where she's just like, "I'm just trying to hold this town together. I don't want it to fall apart." And she's seen how it can turn to shit. You know,
Mhm.
Gotham's like Detroit, where you don't want to be there.
No.
And so,
No.
let's see.
Especially the version in Joker. Do not want to be there.
Oh
No.
god, there's a lot of. I don't think you want to be in any form of Gotham.
No. Yeah. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't even want to visit.
Yeah,
With security, maybe.
I was about to say maybe under the right conditions it could be cool,
Yeah.
but
If I
you
had
definitely
Superman with
definitely don't
me or
want to go
Batman.
out and wander on your own. That's for sure. That's the
No.
last thing. Even in the day, don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
No. Yeah.
Um,
Maybe if I had a lantern with me, I would consider it.
see, there we go. So yeah, Hal Jordan is his big house, or mansion essentially. John Stewart has to not only go get the power bank
Mhm.
from this interdimensional closet space, which that was
Yeah,
interesting.
the
We found
pocket
the
dimension, I thought that was interesting.
yeah,
Seeing one
yeah.
of those. Were they called pocket dimensions in Superman?
I don't remember if they were called
I don't
maybe. I
know,
don't
but
remember.
just anyway, the dimension thing was just
Same
cool to see
idea, yeah.
again. Yeah,
It is
yeah.
interesting to see the DCU leaning into this idea because we've seen that in now almost all the projects, right? Three, no,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
we
not
have
Picture
Peacemaker,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but yeah, of all the live action projects, it's been in 3 of the 4, so it's
Yeah.
like it's interesting. Um, but yeah, explains that shot because I remember when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, "What the hell is this? And why is there a bird?"
Yeah.
Well, I also know now we also know the answer to both those questions.
Yes.
But then he also gets the costume, which I liked that we're getting, get to see that. And I know that costume design is based off of, or at least the idea of it is kind of based off of Green Lantern Earth 1, which is a story I need to read. Might even do a review of it sooner or later on the channel. We'll see. But yeah. So yeah, I like, they're bringing in those lantern elements, and we
Mhm.
obviously see them get brought back, which is cool. And then there's something else there at Hal's house, which I wasn't quite sure what to think. And
Oh,
I wasn't
yeah.
sure if it was a reference to anything specific, but there's a plant, presumably an alien plant that he found, which one would assume. But then my mind also went to, could it be a poison ivy pet? Because
Oh, yeah.
who knows where he got it from, right? No, I wouldn't expect that. I mean, because plant aliens, I feel like are a fairly common thing you could probably come across.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting because definitely set up Earl to be something, but wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting some kind of, like, alien pet, but not a plant, like
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see if like Earl actually has some sort of greater plot thing, or if that's just a reference. I don't know if that plant's a reference to anything specific either.
Mm.
Because I could see it very easily just being like something that like Hal would have come across in like one issue of like the Silver Age comics or something, and that's it, because he's
Mhm.
done a lot of different things that he's fought off against over the years, right? And
Mhm.
so it's like they could very easily just pluck it from literally any era from one issue, and it's just a reference to that. And so,
That's
but
funny.
it could also just be like, it's just a plant creature, who knows? But
Yeah.
I don't know. But I found that interesting, so I'll be interested in learning and seeing if that's an actual reference to something that I'm just not aware of. Right offhand, because I could see it being a obscure reference to something, but I don't know. Not right offhand.
Some Lanterns fan out there tonight was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Earl." And we're just like, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm genuinely curious if that is like a thing that popped up once. It's
Yeah.
possible.
There's
Because
probably a comic issue from, I don't know,
it's
40 years
it's
ago.
possible because
Yeah.
Green Lantern's earlier this year, the main Green Lantern series has crossed having over 600 issues total.
Dang.
Like obviously there's been different runs, but
Right.
both Marvel and DC will like have a legacy numbering of it.
Mhm.
So it's like right now the current comics I think just reached issue 38. I want to say 37, around there. But like a number it, they'll have like an issue. So like now it's like 604, 605 or something. But like,
yeah,
they'll keep that number of like, this is how many there are still of that title, which is really cool. So anyway, point is we have over 600 issues plus Green Lantern Corps comics. So it's like, there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So it's very possible that there's something. So World of Lantern comics is rich to get into. And I was also surprised too, little side tangent, that I was surprised by how much of like some of the, I believe 90s era of Green Lantern comics that just aren't widely available anymore. So I hope DC kind of like reprints some of that stuff sooner than later. Maybe it's late 80s, but there's an era of Green Lantern comics that is notable that you just kind of can't read right now that I was surprised by.
That's unfortunate.
So anyway, but yeah, going back to this, I was not expecting either for John to just get kidnapped.
Yeah.
Like I knew that there was going to be something with that guy, which did they reveal his name to be Anton or whatever?
I don't recall.
But that's the guy. That's the bald dude, is
okay.
Anton or whatever. And I knew he was coming up because one of my theories was I don't think so anymore. I think for sure that he's an alien, but I don't think he's the Green Lantern villain I was thinking he was gonna be. Which my mind was, and I was referencing it, but I didn't drop the name at the end of the last episode, was I thought they were building up to like Atrocitus being a bad guy in this season. And now I don't think so. I think they're just gonna have it being just the Manhunter, because they're I think they're very set on just it's only a Manhunter. I hope we do get some other kind of recognizable stuff along the way of like that he's some sort of noteworthy Green Lantern character, maybe in disguise or something. Because I don't know. I think once I heard the idea of that Atrocitus could be there, and they were starting to build towards a storyline like that, I was like, oh, that'd be sick. I don't think they're doing that now, sadly, because they're replacing, as a lot of comic stories do. You know, they'll take one story and then do it with another story, and that's what they're doing now. I thought they were going to try to adapt more of one story, but now I think they're taking the story idea, but now putting Manhunter there instead of Atrocitus, and so now I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's just a Manhunter story. Which I guess is like a little bit of like a personal disappointing note for me, because I was like, I really want Atrocitus. He's one of my favorite Lantern villains, if not my favorite. Cool. So I was like really hoping we see him, but we won't, I think, sadly. But hopefully they did the Manhunter thing justice, because that's a huge Green Lantern idea, though. Which we did get touch on this with that big kidnapping scene. But before that, well, the interrogation part specifically, I was thinking of there, we got the whole like. What'd you think? Because I thought it was kind of stupid, actually, for a little bit of just like Jon Stewart just running, chasing the bird. It's like, what do you mean you're just chasing the bird on the freaking highway and causing all these cars to wreck because you're being a dumbass running down the road? You know what I mean? I was like, is this like, my mind went through like, is this necessary? You know, like it kind of felt like just action to be action. And also, it's like you're chasing a fictional bird that you just subconsciously summoned. It's like
it's replaceable, John.
Like, you know? I get that it's a test that you're trying to keep that bird around the entire time, but it's like
all these other people are just crashing their cars, and you're just like, my bird. It's like Iron Man 2. I want my bird.
Yeah, that was like the big thing with the other kind of thing with the episode that I was like, I don't know about that. See, you know, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was necessarily necessary. I mean, the sequence of breaking out was necessary, but I don't think
him.
The other half of that was like, you're just doing what? Okay. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Trying to think. But yeah, let's get to that actual interrogation scene, because that was interesting. Because I was expecting kind of like, I guess kind of my idea, what I was formulating, and I'm still going to be interested in learning more of their exact relationship, although I guess they kind of teased it a little bit, was like how Anton and his group is with like William Macon in his group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of like what kind of relation they have. And I thought like, I guess my idea with it is like Anton's group is going to be more of like who Hand is trying to go after, but more directly into town. But it's like, well, no, now they're like can't really be in the town, so they're doing that thing with Jon Stewart of being like, hey, we told you all this information about manhunters, and I guess making him see it too, because that's another
That was
interesting.
interesting, is that we didn't see what
Yeah,
he saw, which is not a bad thing. It just, I
mhm.
think, could have helped the scene a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like we didn't see anything at all, which could have been
Yeah.
interesting, even if it was just like a couple flashes of something,
Yeah, because it was still a
Um,
good scene. Like, it got
mhm.
everything across and set up everything.
Yeah,
Um, but that was maybe just one thing that, like, and maybe John will reference it at some point, and that'll make
yeah.
up for that. But yeah.
Yeah, I also just wonder too if like if we would have seen it, would it
Mhm.
have revealed exactly what these aliens are, which is going to be a big
Mhm.
reveal later, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just very intrigued to see who that's going to be because I feel like Antan has to turn out to be some sort of big character that I hope is somebody
Yeah.
that we actually like is actually a notable character. It's like, oh, that's who that is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume his whole group is aliens too. Is that what I'm saying? I don't know. But I
Yeah,
would
I
assume
figured that
so.
too.
So we'll
But
see. But
but
yeah,
again, I feel like these 2 episodes are very much like setup episodes. Like,
yeah.
it in a way, because while it was still feeding off of episode 1, there's still a lot of, like, lore drops and story beats that were in this
So
episode. So,
you bring up an interesting point here.
mhm.
Because I've had a couple people say, I wonder if they should have dropped 2 episodes at once.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should have dropped both of these episodes at once, and we get the Hal Jordan thing at the end of episode 2?
I think yeah, I think based off of what we've seen right now with these 2, I think they would work good had they dropped them at once.
Hmm.
Because 'cause they're very, to me, they were kinda similar in structure.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it helped. I mean, or what could have helped. Um, but maybe also too, the story that they're telling for the 8 episodes, they don't wanna just rush through it and then
Yeah.
drag it out. I like the idea of them taking their time for us to get to know the characters so that there's payoffs and things feel earned. So
Yeah.
it's a little hard to tell fully,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. We're
I
only.
don't think it would have hurt if they had dropped both,
Yeah.
just because that's kind of what we're used to. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Um, we'll just see how it all plays off. But yeah, I so interested of just being like, oh, these people know things,
Mhm.
and I'm just really curious about seeing where the whole alien plotline goes, since
Yeah.
it was just such an interesting aspect of it. So we'll see.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know seeing Antan, which I was expecting his introduction in this episode, but I wasn't expecting it like this.
Mhm.
Was something I was looking forward to, and I would say that setup at least didn't disappoint. Other than I have no idea who he could be if anybody notable. So, um, but yeah, Hal shot, got in the hospital. Good stuff there. I know we touched on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Um, but I really like seeing their relationship kind of, already grow
Yeah.
throughout this episode, which is cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, that was just a really good scene, I think, actually, in the
I
hospital.
liked it a lot. It was very I know I've said this a lot. There was a lot of character growth in it. Like, she got to say what was on her mind, and Hal listened, you know? Um, and it was good. It's like they're kinda warming up to each other a bit more, at least she is to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Um,
the idea of like, okay, maybe we're tackling things or looking at things a bit differently, but like, at least we want the same
eh
thing,
I
right?
was gonna say they have the same goals and I think that there's like like a respect on both sides,
Yeah.
um, which was cool. But I gotta ask, just not to jump too far ahead, does the ring have, like, healing powers of any kind? I'm just curious.
I don't think so. Although, sorry, I want to double check this.
Because I know when he
Um,
charged up the ring, he took off the sleeve and kinda, like, just adjusted his arm little bit. Maybe the medicine helped or whatever, a shot or
I'm
whatever.
trying to
But
remember
I
that's
was
the thing because
curious.
I don't remember that being an aspect, but
Yeah.
they can use it to repair some injuries,
Mm,
but it can't be used to like necessarily repair things. So
I see.
what I'm seeing here is that it can contain like life support, but it can help do, which was probably used here, some sort of cellular regeneration is what
Mm,
uh I'll say it's just what the Google AI tells me at first.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so I'd have to look into it a little more. Um but it looks like it's more of a basic tool of more
Oh, okay.
minor things, which something like that, I guess it makes sense because it's like, it was already healing. It's not like
Yeah, it
just
was
broke
more of
it,
like a
you know.
warning shot, like, it probably
Yeah,
just kinda nicked him a bit,
yeah,
um, so
yeah,
that makes okay, yeah, that makes sense. But
yeah.
it is
Something like that.
interesting because Hal brought this up with the hospital.
Mhm.
1, there were no patients, and then 2, a lot of the equipment is,
I
like,
was just about to bring that up. Yeah.
in, like, the wrapping or it looks like storage, and
Mhm.
so I this is really adding to there's a lot more here than meets the eye of, like,
Yeah.
suspicion, not only what could be on the compound, and then I'm getting the feeling that obviously this sheriff lady knows a lot more than she's leading on, but I think it's something that's like she says that, and it's like
So,
they're gonna come
yeah.
after her, but
I'm curious if to see, like, I have an idea of what could be on the compound, but I
yeah.
also don't know if it would make sense for it to be the thing.
Mhm.
Is I wonder if because we got Jordan's origin reference in the first episode with how he met an alien named Abin Sur,
Mhm.
um, and that he got a ring there, and it was interesting. Uh, I wonder if there's something to do with like maybe Abin Sur's ship is like what's there, and that's an
Ooh.
important thing. But then the reason why I'm like I don't know if that would work would be like theoretically wouldn't Jordan know where that would be unless if it just somehow vanished and he had no, you know what I mean? Of like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a thing that he would at least know where it could be, and if he doesn't know, maybe it means that. Unless they, like I said, unless they just took it or something, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but there could very much be something bigger there that we just like don't know, like
Yeah.
maybe or maybe it's something bigger where it's like they have parts of the ship and it's like their own area 51 of some
Mhm.
sorts, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm very curious of what they're hiding.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm curious and excited of, like I hope whatever they're setting up pays off because
That's the
it was
thing
it
about
would
the
be
show.
disappointing, you know?
That's the big thing about the show is so much of the show hinders on if the payoff is going to be worth it, right?
Yeah.
Like a show like I think Peacemaker, it's a lot more about like a journey. So it's like
Mhm.
you can still have great episodes of that show, and even if it not that I'm saying that I think it has a weaker finale, but say it did have a weaker finale,
Yeah.
that like you would still it wouldn't kind of like make or break it. And I think Lanterns
Right.
kind of does kind of hinge on that a bit more, a bit.
Yeah.
We'll see. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I
that it
agree.
does. Because like I said, I'm trying to be. I always have this try to have an optimistic mindset of like, yeah, they're twisting some lore things, or we're trying to look at it from a different angle. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. To at least for me to enjoy it more, right? Because I don't want to
Yeah.
look at it and be like, oh, that's not how the comics do it, so it's trash, right? I don't want to
Right.
be here and do that. Um, but I'm hoping that they can pull it off at the end and that it stays mostly respectful, So we'll see.
Mhm.
Um, there was another reference that I thought of a moment ago too, which was fun, and maybe it'll actually tie into the very end. But I'll just go and bring it up. Of uh, Jordan mentioned also Mogo, which is the planet. Uh, Well, actually, they dropped two things, but you talked about Mocha, which is a planet that is literally a Green Lantern,
Oh, wow.
uh, which is yeah. So that's a thing.
Hmm.
And then yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's any other big things in this episode before we get. We did touch on it a little bit, but there's the diner scene with Jon Stewart. was really good, and seeing more to
Yeah.
with her character. Really intriguing as we're seeing more with her.
Again, I'm really curious to know because I know I brought it up earlier, but just
Oh, think we lost him for a moment. And we got an Andrew back. All right.
sorry guys, I had to go in a pocket dimension real quick. I don't know what
Right.
happened.
Obviously.
Yeah.
How was it in there?
Oh, it was good. It was very like just big and like it was crazy. It's weird. It's just a off feeling. But anyway, what I was trying to say before I had to go in there is again, just I'm very curious. And again, I could be thinking way too much into this, but just the grandma's role
Mm-hmm.
compared with the family and everything that's been going on with them. It's like there's
Yeah.
something there, and I feel like they're trying to tease little snippets with revealing information.
Yeah.
Um, and so it just seemed a little off, kind of. And so who knows? Maybe it's nothing, and I'm just overanalyzing. Um,
Yeah, I feel like there's
yeah,
something, but I'm unsure or not of like could it be as far as that she's extraterrestrial, you know? Uh,
yeah, that's the thing that I'm wondering is that. So yeah, I guess
could
we'll
she
find
even be
out.
the manhunter? Who knows?
Yeah, see, that's something I mentioned earlier. Just there's just something with her story. Who knows? Like I said, it
Yeah.
just is interesting. I feel like she's there for a reason, right? And so it's like, what is that reason? We haven't figured that out yet. So
Yeah. Um but yeah, we did get to see Hal say the full oath, which is
that
cool.
was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Don't ask
actually
me to repeat it because I already messed it up pre-show. So
it's all good. Well, it'll be a quiz at the end of the show.
oh no. I have to go back to the pocket dimension. So
um, but yeah, I read it because I was like, "Why'd you bring the suit?" I didn't ask for the suit because it's like even in the way he said it, and like we got the hints of
mhm,
it last episode too of him being like reluctant with being the role. You know, like we know there's something
mhm,
there that's like he doesn't like isn't happy with being a Green Lantern, right? And so there's something going
mhm.
on there. We saw that more, especially there. Um, and it ends right with how I was able to charge up, and then he suits up. Where I was like, oh snap, he suits up, and we go to that shot in the trailer too, where it's the planet, which I don't know
Mhm.
where that is. Like, I don't know if that's meant to be Oa or not, or if it's just like some other prison planet. Because Oa does have a prison where they keep
Mm.
prisoners like that, and I feel like the depiction of it isn't too far different in some regards for how it's kind of functions, I'll say. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like I could see it being Noah, and we just don't see it being like, hey, this is Oa, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see. But man, what an ending of even though we didn't get any more 2026, we got the ending of he goes into space. Which, as you said, yes, the flying there was cool. I liked the
Oh
flying
yeah.
effect of him just going through and going down, and then being able to, starting to talk with Sinestro.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping that next episode delves a good bit into this because it's quite a big thing of ending. Oh shit, we're already getting Sinestro. My idea was like I didn't think we were getting Sinestro until like honestly, my thought brain was like episode 4 at the soonest.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to go ahead and get him. So that's exciting. Um,
Mhm.
but I guess the reason I bring that of why I'm like, I just hope we get a bit of Sinestro next episode is like, yeah, they're setting it up here, but I also know the next episode is going to be Jon Stewart focused. But maybe how they're doing this with Sinestro asking specifically about Jon Stewart is going to be the vessel used to tell the Jon
Yeah.
Stewart backstory. Which is an interesting thought that I don't know, could be an interesting way to maybe tell a
Mhm.
backstory. Um,
I could see, just based on how the writing's been so far, I could see them doing it, pulling it off.
yeah,
But it is interesting to have like T Sinestro and then go into that.
yeah,
And yeah.
So I don't know how much of Sinestro we're actually going to get, just because I've heard they've said it themselves that episode 3 is the Jon Stewart backstory, and really being able to understand a bit more and understanding. And I hear it as well that like the thing with Jon Stewart that they're trying to do is combine things from all eras of Jon Stewart together. So as long as like anybody, like if you're a fan of Jon Stewart at all, there's some sort of,
That's
you
cool.
know, hopefully something that you'd enjoy, right? So we'll see. And so I hope they pull it off good with it. And that's a good origin that they delve into. But I also hope that it's like not the entire episode. That's my big wish for next week, is I hope it's not just like just the Jon Stewart origin, but I'm hoping it gives us some good stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's like, oh damn, you're ending with Sinestro.
Yeah.
I hope we get.
They know how to end an episode. We gotta give them credit there. So
they're 2 for 2 of ending it and being like, God damn it, I need to be Sunday.
And it needs to be
right
next
now.
week.
Yeah, it needs to be next week. Give it to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so getting to see a tiny snip of like, oh, Sinestro and yeah, Hal's trying to learn more about Manhunters, and I guess it would bring up an equally importance too of, well, Sinestro is wanting to know more about Jon Stewart, but there was, how was it said at the end of where Sinestro was like, if there really is a Manhunter around still, it's the second biggest problem that you have.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wait, I guess they are also setting up like there could be also something else really big happening.
Yeah, that was something that caught me. I was like, oh.
And then he see, like, I just found it interesting that he brings up like, yeah, this is the second biggest problem you're going to have, and then he immediately goes into, I need to know about Jon Stewart, and it's like, wait, how does he know about Jon Stewart if he's been in prison for so long? And is Jon Stewart somehow related to this other problem too? You know, of like, I don't know. It's just from him to jump one thing to another. It's like, what could be this bigger problem, and is it something with Jon Stewart because of just? There's an interesting link of how he jumped between those two, unless he's just trying to use it to try to hurt Hal in some way. I don't know, because it's like I feel like Sinestro is also the kind of villain that would take that information and use it for his future use to try to come back to Earth. Like maybe he's referencing himself as the bigger threat, and he's wanting to learn more about it, so it leads to an ending where he breaks out and he's the main villain at the end after they deal with the Manhunter.
Ooh,
that could be cool. I'd love to see a full-on fight with them dealing with Sinestro and having like a yellow ring battle or something would be really cool, actually. If I think they'll actually do that, I don't know, but that would be sick, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we'll see. Just gotta wait and see how it turns out. But yeah, next week, when it now. What other thoughts do you have? Anything else we didn't cover?
I know. I can't think of anything outside of just saying again that it was a really good episode. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, and I'm just really excited for what they're potentially setting up and learning that with the characters, figuring it out with them, and yeah, and I'm already excited for next week. I need it to be next week.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm remaining hopeful that the show's going to pull it off by the end. Like I said, there's a little bit of a lore change. Or ways I'm like, I'm kind of not so sure with Jon Stewart. But other than that, I'm like, okay, there's good stuff here. Like I'm actually like, you know, Coast City's a big part of Green Lantern, so for at least them to like reference it and then kind of go there, it's like, okay, that's cool, you know. And getting some cool connections and nice surprises with this episode for sure. And so, you know, it's definitely moving at a pace where I'm like, maybe everything we've seen from the trailers is just those first 4 episodes, which is really exciting to think about.
Oh yeah.
And I actually really do hope that's the case too, of being like, we just have no idea what to expect from that second half.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting if it really is, because it's like the big space, well, half the big space shots that we saw, well, we got at the end of this. That was expecting to see a little bit later on, so we'll see what's
like you said with Sinestro, when we saw him in the trailer, we're thinking end of season, and that was now. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
well, I did see on Threads, someone asked James Gunn what episode he was most excited for people to see, and he said episode 8. Now, that could just be good marketing to get people to watch episode 8, but
Right.
also too, maybe they're setting up quite a bit to have this like huge finale, and
That's
that
the
could be
thing
really
is
cool.
everybody is saying you just gotta be with us till the end and say they're like, if you don't like the story we tell by the end, fair, you know.
Yeah.
But they're hyping up this finale huge, right? And
Mhm.
like I said, it really does hinge on it. So we'll see what happens. So only one way to find out, and that is to wait 6 more freaking weeks.
Dang it.
So anyways,
Yeah.
what do you got going on?
Yeah, for over on Feast of Fandoms, you can catch me over there twice a week. Monday nights for MCU Monday, we're finishing up our Jessica Jones reviews. We've got, I think, 3 more episodes left, and then we're done with the show. And then we're gonna move on to X-Men '97, season 2. And then Thursday night for Cantina Happy Hour, we just started season 6 of Clone Wars. So very much been very good been fun rewatching the show.
Mhm.
And then yeah, you can catch me over here for all DC related stuff. So yeah.
Proud home of talking about a lot of DC stuff because I think I was just thinking about this today. I probably spent an unnecessary amount of money on picking up DC comics because I think they're doing really good right now. But that's another thing. DC has a lot going out right now. Where I'm like, yeah, I want that and that and that, and it creates something big. So anyway, we're not going to talk about my comic addiction problems, at least not
Oh,
right
it's
now.
not an addiction, it's a collection, you know?
Right,
Right.
obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
and not. I might have mentioned this last recording, but one of my takeaways from the first episode, other than just thinking about it for an hour, was also I need to buy another Green Lantern comic that has nothing to do with the show. And so that's what I also did, which I have actually I have it right here. The one I bought, which is like I said, what I say has nothing to do with the show. There is
Yeah.
an idea that has something to do with the show, but it has still nothing to do with the show. It's not even about one of the Green
Oh.
Lanterns in the show. It's about Kyle Rayner. And so
Oh, man, that's funny.
but one was like, I want to read a story, and that story's involved in it, and yeah. And I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, stay tuned here on the Dingus End for a bunch of different comic reviews, more Lantern stuff, more DCU reviews, and interviews and stuff with different comic creators. And so, which I will give a little bit of a warning now. Content may slow down a tad bit, but I'm still going to try to do my best of keeping weekly comic reviews as well as the indie comic pool as best I can, even though I am going to be a lot busier starting this upcoming week. As of the time we're recording, although this is probably going to be up the day after. So, but yeah, plan is I'm still going to keep on chugging along and see you here for all that fun stuff coming only here on the Dingus Den. So until next time, see you all hopefully next week. Or hopefully we get to talk about some more Sinestro. All right. That's my wish. So more Sinestro, please. We'll see you next time here at the Dingus Den. Later, everybody. Bye.